Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Craig Stammen's post-game comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
We welcome you back to Petco Park and welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. Final score on this Sunday in the rubber game of this three-game series. The Dodgers 4 and the Padres 2. The Dodgers take 2 out of 3 from San Diego after the Padres won on Friday night. A fourth consecutive win for the Padres, but they wrap up this 6-game homestand with a couple of consecutive losses yesterday and here today. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We will break down each and every aspect of this game, have all the radio highlights for you. We'll go downstairs in a little bit, hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen coming up in just a matter of minutes as well. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey player, with epic SoCal views, a full bar and poolside bite, Starlight Pool at Jamul Casino Resort is pool season perfected, and day passes are available. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Well, for a second straight game, it felt like the story of this game was really defined by a single inning. Yesterday, we talked so much about the sixth inning, so much about the Will Wagner error and Randy Vasquez, and that opening the floodgates to what became a 9-run top of the sixth inning as the Dodgers took command of that game. Well, it wasn't the sixth inning here in this series finale. It was the top of the fifth inning. We had a 1-1 game going to the top of the fifth inning. To that point, Michael King had really been very good in the game. He'd given up just 1 run on an RBI single to Shohei Ohtani in the third. But then Michael King in the top of the fifth inning issued a leadoff walk, a 1-out walk. He hit Andy Pages with a 2-strike pitch, then walked Freddie Freeman with the bases loaded. And we'll talk about the 3-2 pitch and the Padres not challenging on a call they certainly could have challenged on. We'll get into it, but he did walk in a run, gave the Dodgers a 2-1 lead, and that all set up a 2-run single for Mookie Betts in that fifth inning, a 3-run fifth inning for the Dodgers, and they end up going on to win by a final score of 4-2. So that inning made all the difference in this game. And again, for a second straight day, it feels like this game was defined by a single inning. And Michael King, we talked in the pregame about Michael's struggles before that last start against Atlanta. He was so good earlier on the homestand against the Braves with 7 shutout innings, and the first 4 innings were great for Michael King. He did give up a run, but he was totally in command. And then in the fifth inning, he did some things you can't do, not against this Dodger lineup. He walked a couple of guys. He hit Pages with 2 strikes, and then the walk and the 2-run single for Betts, and it made it a 4-1 Dodger lead. The Padres did have their opportunities in this game, especially in the 8th inning. They had 2 on, nobody out, trailing by 2. Could not find a way to cash in. Padres only went 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. So really 2 issues here today. That 1 inning where Michael King kind of let it get away from him, and he ended up not finishing at that 5th inning. And then it was the offense as well. Padres not cashing in with runners in scoring position. They had opportunities against the LA bullpen, and the Padres fall here today by a final score of 4-2. Padres dropped to 43-39. The Dodgers improved to 54-30. Padres now embark on a 7-game road trip, 3 games at Wrigley Field in Chicago tomorrow through Wednesday, and then 4 more games in LA against these Dodgers Thursday through Sunday. When we come back, we'll recap this one from the very start to the very finish. We'll hear from Craig Stammen coming up a little bit later as well. Dodgers win the rubber game of this series 4-2 as the Padres now will hit the road. Our postgame coverage from Petco Park continues after these words. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Another sold-out crowd here today, 41,000 plus in the building. Padres sold out all 6 games of this homestand. Unfortunately, not a winner here today, not a series win either, as the Padres dropped the final 2 games of this series to the LA Dodgers after winning on Friday night. A lot to do on our post-game coverage as per usual. We'll recap this game from start to finish in just a moment. We'll also go downstairs here from Padres manager Craig Stammen. We've got a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming your way as well, and may squeeze in some of your phone calls in a little bit too. Let's recap this one, the rubber game of this 3-game set here in downtown San Diego.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup today, couple of former Boston College guys going at it. Michael King on the mound for the Padres, Emmett Sheehan on the mound for LA. Both right-handers tossing 2 scoreless innings to begin the day in the top of the 3rd. Alex Freeland hit a leadoff single against King. The Dodgers' number 9 hitter, Chucky Robinson, bunted Freeland to second base. That put a runner in scoring position for Shohei Ohtani.
Ohtani swings, lines it into left center field. Taylor over, not going to get there, has to play it on a hop. Freeland got a good read on his way home, and Shohei Ohtani has driven in the first run of the day. 1-0 Dodgers here in the 3rd.
That's all King gave up in the 3rd. Sheehan was very good early. Dodgers still leading 1-0 in the 4th inning. That was until Manny Machado dug in.
And Manny swings, hits it in the air, deep to left field. Edmonds going back. He is at the wall. This one, gonna go! Moonshot home run for Manny. Tie game in the 4th inning as Machado collects his team leading 15th of the year. 1-1 at Petco Park.
So for a second straight game, Padres tying the game at 1 with a solo home run. We had a tie game 1-1 going to the 5th inning. King issued a leadoff walk to Alex Freeland. He allowed a 1-out walk to Shohei Ohtani. He then got ahead of Andy Pages 1-2, but he hit Pages for a second time with a 1-2 pitch. That loaded the bases. King then went 3-2 on Freddie Freeman. King threw ball 4, although it certainly appeared that had the Padres challenged the pitch had a chance to be ruled strike 3, but they did not challenge. The walk brought in a run. Dodgers took a 2-1 lead. Bases were still loaded with the Dodgers up by 1 for Mookie Betts.
Here's the 2-1. Betts swings, lines it into left center field. Ohtani will score. Pages is right behind him as Merrill sends the throw into second base. A 2-run single for Mookie Betts. The Dodger lead is now 4-1.
That was it for Michael King. Yuki Matsui came in. He got 2 lefties out to end the inning. Padres then put 2 on with 2 out. In the bottom half of the inning, they did not score against Sheehan. The Dodgers led 4-1 through 5. Yuki Matsui pitched the scoreless top of the 6th inning. Alex Vesia came on for the Dodgers in the bottom half. The inning started on a ground ball to first base off the bat of Jackson Merrill. Vesia never covered the bag. Merrill was safe with an infield single. Merrill stole second to put himself into scoring position. Dodgers then went to right-hander Will Klein to face Xander Bogaerts with a runner on second base.
And Xander hits it on the ground through the right side, a base hit. Merrill's at third, rounding. He's on his way. He'll come in to score. Xander Bogaerts, an RBI single, and the Padres have cut into the deficit. It's 4-2.
So the Padres down by 2. Miguel Andujar then got hit by a pitch to put the tying runs aboard, but Klein struck out Sung Moon Song to end the inning. Jason Adam pitched the scoreless top of the 7th. Klein stayed on for the bottom half. Padres still trailing 4-2. He allowed a 1-out single to Fernando Tatis Jr., but he got the second out. Xander Scott came in to strike out Jackson Merrill to end the inning. After Wandy Peralta pitched the scoreless top of the 8th, Scott stayed on for the bottom half. Again, Padres only down 4-2. Manny Machado started the inning with a leadoff double against Scott. Scott then hit pinch hitter Ty France with a 2-strike pitch. So the Padres all of a sudden had a golden opportunity, trailing 4-2, but they had 2 on base and nobody out. Scott then fell behind Xander Bogaerts 3-1, but he came back to strike out bogey. Miguel Andujar then hit into a 5-4-3 double play. The inning was over. The Padres came up empty. They were still down 4-2. In the top of the ninth inning, Wandy Peralta threw another scoreless frame to keep it a 2-run deficit. Bottom half of the ninth inning, Edgardo Enriquez came in for LA. Freddie Fermin drew a 1-out walk. That brought up Fernando Tatis Jr., representing the tying run in the bottom of the ninth.
Swings here, hits a ground ball up the middle. Betts to his left has it, takes it to second. One, jump throw to first is in time, and that's a double play to end the game. So the Dodgers take the rubber match by a final of 4-2. Enriquez collects his first save of the season, and we will see these guys again next week for 4 games at Dodger Stadium.
And that was that. This ball game here today, Fernando grounding into a double play to end the game and the series. And the final score here today, Dodgers 4 and the Padres 2. Again, the Padres had their opportunities. They went 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position in this one. 4 runs, 5 hits, no errors for LA. 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors for San Diego. Padres dropped to 43-39. Dodgers improved to 54-30. Dodgers now head to Sacramento for a series. Padres will head to Chicago for a 3-game series. The winning pitcher today was Emmett Sheehan. He picks up his 4th win of the season. Michael King takes his 7th loss of the season, and Edgardo Enriquez picks up his first save of the year with the scoreless 9th inning for the Dodgers. When we return, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Much more to do on our postgame coverage from Petco Park. Again, the final today, Dodgers 4 and the Padres 2, as the Padres drop 2 out of 3 to LA this weekend. Our postgame coverage continues after this. Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here today, the Dodgers 4 and the Padres 2. as the Padres drop the rubber match of this 3-game series. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. We appreciate you joining us on this Sunday. Remember, there are no off days until the All-Star break now. Padres in the midst of a 17-game in 17-day stretch. That stretch began with the game on Friday against the Dodgers. So no time to, sulk at all after a series loss to LA. You've got a road trip coming up to Chicago and LA, 3 games against the Cubs to start this week, and then 4 games against the Dodgers Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Before we hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen, I do want to talk about the 5th inning again, because like I said in the open, the thing about this series, the final 2 games of this series, they were really defined by 1 inning in each game that the Dodgers won. Yesterday it was the 6th inning, right? You had the Wagner error. You had Randy Vasquez allowing the inning to totally unravel after that, and the Dodgers end up scoring 9 runs in the 6th inning yesterday, and the entire complexion of the game totally changes in that 6th inning. Really the same thing here today. Maybe not as dramatic as what we saw yesterday, but there were, a few issues in that 5th inning in particular. A 1-1 game. Michael King, unfortunately did some things you just can't do against this Dodger lineup. Issued a leadoff walk to Freeland, a walk to Ohtani with 1 out to put 2 on, then hit Andy Pajes with a 2-strike pitch to load the bases. He goes 3-2 on Freddie Freeman. Now, I'm interested to see if Craig gets asked about this, because the 3-2 pitch to Freeman was very, very close. I mean, it was maybe on the outside corner. It was very, very close. Now, I do want to emphasize a couple of points about that 3-2 pitch. Number one, King did totally miss his spot. Duran was set up on the outer part of the plate. He missed inside. And to me, there were 2 potential issues there on that pitch. Number one, Duran didn't really frame it, and I think that was a function of King missing his spot. But had Duran framed it, I mean, there's a chance that it's a called strike 3. And then to add on to that, looking at the replay of it, it looked like had the Padres challenged it, you might have had the call overturned, and instead of ball 4 and a run coming in, it's strike 3 for out number 2, and a run doesn't score. And then that set up the 2-run single for Mookie Betts that followed, made it 4-1, and that was the end of Michael King's day. Goes 4 innings in the 3rd, 4 runs given up. So, look, there were multiple issues in that 5th inning. I know there was a lot of attention on the Padres not challenging that call in that spot, but here's the reality. Walk, hit by pitch. I mean, that set the table for Freeman and then for Betts. And, there were a litany of issues in that 5th inning for Michael King beyond even just not challenging what could have. We don't know for sure what could have been strike 3 had the Padres challenged it. And look, I do think the final 2 games of this series, it's a good reminder that against this Dodger team, and look, this is not Dodger loving. If you think it's that, whatever. I'm just telling you what it is with this Dodger team. And if you watch these matchups and the Dodgers play over the course of the last handful of years, you know what I'm saying here. The reality is with the Dodgers, they're a really, really, really good team. And they do what a really good team typically does. When you open up the door ever so slightly, they, in a lot of cases, will walk right through it. When you give them opportunities, they, in a lot of cases, will take advantage of opportunities and take advantage of mistakes. And you can look at the 2 losses in this series. The error by Wagner yesterday. Now, it wasn't all on Will Wagner yesterday, but look, we talked about it plenty last night. If Wagner makes that play, you've got a tie game, 2 outs and a runner on base, and instead the Padres didn't get the second out of the inning forever, and then ended up being a 9-run 6th inning for LA. They capitalized completely on that mistake and that error by Wagner, and then here today, the walks and the hit by pitch that King allowed in that 5th inning, they took advantage. And the Dodgers tend to do that, not just against the Padres, but they tend to do that against every team because, they typically are, a pretty good team, obviously. So, that's kind of the case with the Dodgers. You give them an opportunity, you make a mistake, man, they do very often find a way to punish it. And felt like the 2 losses for the Padres in this series really highlighted that. Doesn't mean you can't go up to L.A. next week and play a really good series, get a series win, totally turn around the season series against the Dodgers so far. But it does feel like these 2 losses here in San Diego against the Dodgers, it kind of highlighted that thing that we know, but kind of, was a reminder of, man, you make a mistake, you walk people, you hit people, and you're just playing with fire against this Dodger lineup. With all that in mind, let's go downstairs and hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Craig, at the conclusion of this series, how would you assess it overall?
We lost the series. It's the bottom line. We played some solid baseball throughout it, but in the end, lost 2 out of 3.
What did you see in the 5th inning from Michael King?
Yeah, he just kind of lost the strike zone there. We've seen bouts of that from Michael throughout this season, and he just wasn't really able to rein it in, and kind of got cornered in against Mookie, and Mookie made him pay for it.
Were you able to see that maybe the final ball to Freddie was a strike?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll check on the ABS. I haven't looked at it. It's hard to look at that stuff in game. I know it was a missed location pitch. Those are always tough for the catcher to, with the bases loaded, trying to protect the plate. And we challenged a few of those early in the game and got them. I know Michael did one. So, yeah, we've got to be great at the ABS, and we're not going to get everyone right, especially in a big situation like that's nice. But it would have been nice to get that one.
And there were some other things later in the game, maybe some opportunities the offense missed, but these short starts from the starters, like how much does this need to get fixed for you guys to be what you can be?
Yeah, it definitely puts our bullpen in a tough spot, where we're just using them and sometimes unable to use them in the correct lanes just because they're the only person available, and I think, we just got to get a little bit more out of the starters. They got to be able to at least give us 5. Otherwise, we got to, figure out a different way to do it.
How can you do that? Is it just like those guys need to perform through the 5th? Can you ride them a little longer? I know maybe today was different, but just generally speaking, how do you get more from those guys?
Yeah, they got to pitch better and they got to throw strikes. That's number one, is you make the other team put the ball in play and, play the percentages. That's number one. Number 2 is we've just got to get a little bit better, overall be able to manage getting through the game. And then I think the other part is we've tried to be a little creative with it too, with the openers and, all that stuff still on the table and bullpen games and, things like that. Like everything's on the table to try to make it better. You think of it, we'll probably try it. We've already talked about it.
I'm not thinking of anything new. What have you seen from Manny lately at the plate? It's kind of.
Yeah, Manny had a great series, in my opinion, for the most part. A great game today, too. Home run and then the double off Scott, and even a really good ball to right center off Vesia. We like having him in between those 2 lefties because we feel like he's going to face a lefty more often than not late in the game. And you can just see his swing is kind of back to the old Manny swing. That swing he took off Scott, line drive down left field line. That swing was pretty, and that's what we remember from Manny. And the other part of that is he played great defense this series too. His head's always in the ball game. He's always thinking about the next way to get an out or to get an extra out. He definitely showed a ton of leadership on the field in the series against the Dodgers, as he does a lot of times.
Craig, go back to Freddie's at bat. He falls behind 0-2, takes 3, works into 3-2, fouls off 3 really good pitches, and then draws the walk. You see that kind of approach kind of up and down their lineup. Is that something that's organizational? They want guys who are going to be really pesky and make you work for it? Or is that something to the quality of the type of player that they have over there with like 7 all-stars in the starting lineup? Yeah,
Freddie's a really good hitter. I remember facing him a few times and having those similar bats. He's just never going to give in. And you've got to make good pitches. He forces you to make really good pitches. And on the mound, we've got to be able to compete in that same manner. Michael did. Like, he went after him and apparently struck him out, unbeknownst to me. And I can't do a whole lot about it. But, that's just the type of player he is. They have a few of those. We have a few of them also. That's why the games that we play against them are usually pretty tight.
Is that something you guys need to do more of yourselves? If you have the quality of player to do that, to work more counts, foul off more tough pitches, try to just do anything you can to try to get
I think when you were first talking about it, I thought you were talking about Freddie Fermin in the last inning. So we do have plenty of those guys that take those at-bats. I think when you look at it through different kind of lenses and that part of the game, we can always pick out one at-bat and say, hey, we can do that all the time. I think our hitters do that more often than not. I think it's smart for us to look for those opportunities when they do it right, and then, pat them on the back and say you're doing a great job, and hopefully that reinforces more of those types of at-bats.
As you're ready to go out on the road again, what do you come home and you win 4 out of 6? What did you take from this homestand?
Yeah, overall, we played the Braves really good, get a sweep against a good team, play the Dodgers, beat them the first game, have some momentum. Yesterday's game gets away from us. We came out today, played pretty hard, 2-run ball game, had chances, throughout the game. In the end, we won 1 series and we lost 1 series. And we're here, that's our goal every time we play a team is to win the series. Eventually, hopefully it gets to the point of October where we just got to win a series. And I think that's all we're thinking about. That's all our mindset every day is how can we win the series? So we won 1 and we lost 1. So we'll call it an even.
You were part of a bullpen where they found solutions as long as you could in 2021. At what point does it become wow, this is unsustainable?
Yeah, my biggest worry, because I lived it and I know what that was like, and I know how we were feeling at the end of the season. We felt good, but it just wasn't the same. And as my job as manager is to try to protect the bullpen in that way so that they are a strength for the entire season, not just in May and June.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 4-2 loss for the Padres here today against the Dodgers. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. A lot to chew on there that was discussed with Craig. I think most importantly, I'm going to wait till after the break to talk about it more in depth. I think most importantly is talking about the starting pitching because, look, we have talked about the offense all year, and the offense certainly last 15, 20 games has been far more productive. Not so much today, not so much yesterday, really, aside from, maybe late in the game on Friday, wasn't a tremendous series for the offense, but putting that aside for a second, we've talked so much about the offense in the first half of the season. And again, I'll get into it after the break, but it does feel right now like the biggest concern with the Padres is the starting pitching. And it's a part of the schedule right now where that is very significant. So we'll talk a little bit more about it. I do want to, point out a couple of things here. Number one, the reality is you had a 4-2 homestand against 2 really good teams. Now, the Braves weren't playing super well when they came into town. They're banged up. You didn't face, a guy like Chris Sale during that series. However, the Padres can't control any of that. And they did a really nice job in that series against Atlanta and swept them, won the first game of the series in LA, guaranteed them a winning homestand. So, look, I do think you could look at it and say, on one hand, if somebody would have said on this homestand against Atlanta and LA, you went 4-2, you'd probably sign up for it before the homestand. However, that would be missing the context of you won the first 4 and you had a really nice opportunity to win this series against the Dodgers and make it an excellent homestand. Could have been a 5-1 homestand if you found a way to win here today, but I don't think on the whole, the big picture, you'll complain about 4-2. I do think it's worth mentioning, like Craig did, Manny had a really nice series and had some good swings today. The home run against Sheehan, the double against Scott, tough lefty in the 8th inning. That put the Padres in a position to potentially rally, tie the game, take the lead in the 8th inning. They couldn't do it, unfortunately. Manny also did, have a double, a walk, a run scored on Friday. He's swinging the bat better. There's no doubt about that for Manny Machado. So hopefully a sign of things to come for Manny, and so hopefully he can take that momentum into the road trip. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the pitching because I do think it's worth diving in a little bit deeper. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. If you want to get a phone call in before we go on this Sunday, phone number is always 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, the phone number to dial. Again, the final score in the rubber game of this series, Dodgers 4 and the Padres 2 on the Padres Radio Network. Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. Final score here today, Padres fall to the Dodgers 4-2. Padres drop 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers over the course of this weekend. After winning on Friday, Padres now hit the road for a 7-game road trip, 3 at Wrigley Field against the Cubbies and 4 in LA against the Dodgers Thursday through Sunday. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open, day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Before we get to some of our daily awards, if you want to squeeze a phone call in on this Sunday, you can at 833-288-0973. Let's discuss the starting pitching, because I do think it's worth a little dive in here. Kevin Acee this morning in the San Diego Union Tribune, he had a pretty interesting note, and Kevin wrote that entering today, no starter except for Walker Buehler, Michael King, and J.P. Sears, who just did it this week, had completed more than 5 innings in the past month. Buehler came into today having done it 4 times, King 4 times, and Sears once earlier this week. And I do think that in and of itself, and certainly if you've just been watching the games and listening to the games and following the Padres, I think you have a pretty good understanding that, A, this rotation is banged up. You've got, obviously, Musgrove and Pivetta on the IL, but then beyond that, Marcus on the IL. You've got Giolito now on the IL. You've got Waldron on the IL. But the other issue has been you're just not getting a ton of great starting pitching and also length out of your starters. And, the last couple of days with Michael today, couldn't complete 5 innings. You had Randy Vasquez yesterday go 3 1/3 in the bulk innings role after the opener, and obviously had sort of the disastrous 6th inning. Buehler continues to be really good. He delivered on Friday. Sears, we'll see how he does in Chicago, but certainly gave you some hope with what he did against the Braves on Wednesday. But you look before that, Canning got 2 outs on Tuesday in a game the Padres won. King was very good the time before that. But, look, it's not rocket science here. And if you've been following along, the Padres have starting pitching issues, both in who's on the IL, and they're just not getting length. And I think what is going to be very, very interesting is to see how the Padres handle this. Now, we're going to see tomorrow, because the Padres have not announced their starter for tomorrow. It is Griffin Canning's turn in the rotation. So either there's a different plan for tomorrow with the guy not named Griffin Canning at least getting bulk innings tomorrow or starting tomorrow's game, or they're just waiting to see, who's going to be the opener tomorrow, and they never name an opener the day before because you got to see what the bullpen usage looks like here today. So I would assume it's probably just an opener for Canning tomorrow, but, part of the issue is Canning has been, it's been rocky. And Vasquez, it's been very rocky as of late. Really, outside, and I hate to put Michael King in this because King has had a number of great starts, including one earlier this week against Atlanta. But it's been a very up and down last month and a half, 2 months for Michael King. So, even somebody like him, who you do have a lot of faith in and has pitched great baseball in a Padres uniform, even he has been very up and down. Walker has been this team's best starter. I mean, I think that's clear right now. He has been this team's best starter over the course of the last month and a half. I mean, maybe not the highs that Michael King has reached, but from a consistency and effectiveness standpoint, Walker Buehler has been this team's best starting pitcher for the last month and a half. And it is a very, very important situation that the Padres have to figure out and start to get better effectiveness and more length out of their starters, not just because you need it to win baseball games, but you're in a stretch of play now where you are going to live very, very dangerously if you burn out this bullpen. You are in the midst of 17 games in 17 days right now. And guess what? Out of the All-Star break, the Padres play 26 games in 27 days. So you're looking at a stretch here wrapped around the All-Star break where you've got just as far, and certainly I would say opponents before the break, but you've got a situation here where you play a ton of baseball with like no off days. I mean, you've got, other than the All-Star break, you've got one off day right now through the middle of August. Think about that for a second. So I only bring up the schedule to make the point of, you start running through this bullpen every night, you're going to have a problem. I mean, you are going to have to get some length out of these starters and get them to eat up some innings. Again, if not only for the reason that if you don't, how are you going to manage this bullpen and the kind of innings you're going to have to get from them? So, look, we've talked a lot about the offense over the course of this season, but I think right here, right now, you look at this stretch really through mid-August, man, the Padres, they're going to have to figure this out rotation-wise. And look, I liked what Craig said there in the post-game press conference, where, he didn't mince words. I thought he did a nice job there. And he said, we got to pitch better. And that is part of it. I mean, yeah, look, you can bring up some other names. You can go see what Johnny Brito's got. Certainly getting Marquez back. You can see what he's got. You can see what Waldron's got when he's ready to come back. You can try some different things. You can keep using openers, but I do think Craig was sort of spot on there in the press conference. It's also about guys got to pitch better. So that is certainly just a stark reality of baseball and the situation. And look, I think through mid-August right now, that's kind of what is standing out to me. And I don't think I'm alone in, okay, this is kind of, this could be make or break as far as the success of the team throughout, the next month and a half could be very much based on how they kind of figure out this rotation and getting the most out of it moving forward. So it's, kind of the main thing right now, I think, on the priority list of the Padres checklist right now as we keep on creeping towards the All-Star break. We'll squeeze in some phone calls here before we end this segment. First, let's quickly tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Relief pitcher of the game here today, we'll give it to Yuki Matsui, who did a nice job in this game. Really, really did. I mean, King comes out. The Dodgers still have runners on first and third, one out. He faces Muncy and Edman, gets them both. Comes back out for the sixth inning, throws a scoreless inning. So all in all today for Yuki Matsui, inning and two-thirds scoreless. He did a really nice job in this series, and Yuki continues to be tremendous, as does Wandy Peralta. I mean, Yuki today goes an inning and two-thirds scoreless. He lowered his ERA to 1.53. Wandy gave you 2 innings, and he lowered his ERA to 1.69. And we talked about it with Kyle Hart pregame, if you heard our pregame conversation. I mean, what more can you say about these two lefties? And I'm not talking about Morahone. I'm talking about Matsui and Peralta. These guys got sub-2 ERAs, and the sample size ain't small. I mean, it really has been remarkable what these guys have done. And in this game in particular today, I gave the relief pitcher of the game to Matsui. I could certainly have given it to Wandy Peralta. I mean, look, I understand the Padres were trailing, but Wandy came in a 2-run game. I mean, put it this way. Wandy puts together a 1-2-3 8th inning, strikes out 2. The Padres then in the bottom half of the 8th put 2 on with nobody out. They had an opportunity to go tie this game, take a lead. So make no mistake about it. Those were big outs that Wandy was getting, as were the outs that Yuki got. So, look, if there's one part of the team right now that I think you continue to have a ton of confidence in, it's obviously the bullpen, because these guys, and it's top to bottom, they have been, for the most part, tremendous. And you're not just talking about Miller and Adam and Morahone. You're talking about Peralta and Matsui. These guys have been really good. In fact, Kyle Hart has been pretty good too. So it's been pretty impressive what Matsui and Peralta have done. I mean, they have been really nice stories for this bullpen here in 2026. Let's tell you about the Padres' heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the Heart of the Order, presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Part of the order here today, we take a look at the 3, 4, 5 spots in the Padres lineup. Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado, Gavin Sheets. Jackson went 1 for 4 with a run scored, had a single, a couple of strikeouts in this game. Manny Machado had 2 hits in this game, including his team-leading 15th home run of the season. Gavin Sheets 0 for 3 in this one, so a combined 3 hits. A double, a home run for Manny in this one. Manny had a nice game, no doubt. Tied the game with the home run in the 4th and had the double to bring the tying run to the plate in the 8th inning. Led off that 8th inning against Tanner Scott with a double. So nice day for Manny, and that's a look at the Padres' heart of the order. All right, so we'll kind of stumbled there. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming your way in just a little bit. I do want to squeeze in some of your phone calls here as we wrap up this series and get ready for the Padres to hit the road. So let's do that right now. Run through some calls here quickly. 833-288-0973. Let's begin things in Chula Vista. It's Danny calling in. Danny, you're on the Padres Radio Network on this Sunday. Welcome in.
Good afternoon, Sam.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
What you got, Danny? You're on the radio.
Well, I was going to call in, and you were saying some really things that I agree with. I had been talking to a few people about it, that at the end of the Dodger game on Monday, everybody was really excited, and some of the diehards were screaming sweep, and I told a couple of my buddies, hey, calm down. At the end of 4 games of 6 games that you have at home, not talking about very much that everyone's saying that the Braves aren't doing well. They aren't, but after that game, you're 4-0 on your homestand, and having coached baseball and softball with the type of teams that you were playing, you got to call that a W already. That's not to say you packed in the 10th, and they didn't. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a good game on Saturday, but today was within reach with the Dodgers. So you got to look at that, and you got to find all the positives.
Yeah, look, Danny, appreciate the phone call. Look, this was not a disaster of a series, nor was it a disaster of a homestand. I mean, look, I understand it's frustrating to lose a couple of games to the Dodgers. The reality is, and I understand the Braves aren't super healthy, weren't playing super great. I get that, but the Padres can't control that. They took care of business. They took advantage of it and swept them, and then they won the first game against the Dodgers. Look, you would certainly have felt better about the series in the homestand had the Padres won this series and made it a 5-1 homestand, taking 2 out of 3. Yeah, you would have felt better about it, but it wasn't let's be real. I'm in this segment, I'm talking about pitching issues and all of it, and 2 things can be true at once. You can have some things you got to figure out and also totally acknowledge this was no disaster of a homestand. You went 4-2 against 2 very, very good teams. 5-1, even a 6-0 was within reach. To your point, you couldn't get it done. All right. I thought Tony made the point in the post-game wrap. You don't have time to dwell on it. You don't, because you got a long stretch of games here. You got a quality opponent waiting for you in Chicago at Wrigley Field. You cannot dwell on it and move on and get ready for the series in Chicago. But, was it a disappointing end to the homestand? Yeah. But was it, a bad homestand? No. Let's go to Ryan in La Mesa calling in. Hi, Ryan. You're on the Padres Radio Network. Go ahead.
Sam, thanks for taking my call. 2 questions. Yep. I was listening on the radio. I heard Tony Jr. talk about an executed bunt that was successful in the game. Don't know who it was, but he was talking about the bat angle, the pitch being way out of strike zone, but it executed and advanced the runner. My second question is, my opinion, Padres need to go deeper into the count. But that's my opinion. What is the record with a man in scoring position? How many pitches before he took the advance the runner?
Try to specify there, Ryan. I don't understand what you're asking with the runners in scoring position.
So if we have a guy on second and you're at bat, how many pitches is the record? You can foul off pitches all day if you're a good hitter. Right? But I'm just curious the record. I can Google it. Let's not waste any time. All I can say is, yes, good. I agree. Good homestand. Yay, go Padres.
All All right, Ryan, appreciate the phone call. I do not know offhand the record for the amount of pitches seen in an at-bat with a runner in scoring position. I don't have that one ready on hand, but good luck in Googling it. I don't know. Look, just to go back to runners in scoring position, yeah, it was an issue today. Padres were 1 for 8. They had, man, oh man, that golden opportunity in the 8th inning against Tanner Scott, who allowed the first 2 batters to reach. I mean, think about it this way. It was the Manny double. Then he hits France, the pinch hitter, with a 2-strike pitch, and then he fell behind Xander 3-1. And I'll tell you, you're sitting there thinking, all right, here we go. You got a chance to really do this. You're down by 2. You got 2 on, nobody out. Xander's in an advantageous 3-1 count. But then he comes back to strike out Xander, double play ball from Andujar, and bam, the inning was over. Let's finish up here on the phones. Let's go to Ben in National City. Hi, Ben. You're on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome in.
What's going on, Sam? How you doing?
Doing well.
So just a quick question. It's weird with the Padres, you diehard Padres fan, but why is it every time when they have chances to call a challenge, the Padres don't do it? It's just we have ABS for a reason. I feel like if King would have went with the challenge on the 3-2 count with Tucker, I feel like the momentum would have changed. What is the reason why the Padres don't use the challenges?
Yeah, Ben, appreciate the phone call. Look, I don't, I could go look up the numbers right now and tell you, give you a comparison. How often do the Padres challenge compared to other teams and their challenge success rate? I'm not going to do it right now, but I'll focus on 2 elements of it. Number one, look, this is just me watching the games. Again, I'm not looking up data here. It does seem like the Padres, their hitters, and especially the more veteran ones, it seems like how often is Tatis challenged the pitch? Not very much. Manny has not done it a lot. It does seem like they don't do it a ton. Look, I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you don't want to use up challenges, especially early, and get them wrong. Going back to the situation today in particular, because, look, I do think, and if you look at where that pitch was and you look on the TV broadcast or you look on game day and, on the stat portal system, Savant, however you want to look at it, look, it appeared had the Padres challenged that 3-2 pitch to Freddie Freeman, it would have at least been close. I mean, they very well may have got strike 3, overturned the call, and instead of walking in a run, you get the second out of the inning and you still got the bases loaded and the game is still tied. Now, I think there were 2 issues on it. Number one, King totally missed his spot. So I think because he missed his spot, and again, I haven't, seen if Duran was asked about it after the game or if Michael was asked about it after the game. We don't have any clubhouse audio today from downstairs, so I apologize for that. But I would assume that part of it was that King missed the spot and Duran had to come all the way across the plate. So that probably didn't look like it was a good enough pitch to challenge. The other thing was Duran, because King missed by so much, didn't really frame it up. I mean, he just sort of caught it and the glove went down. He was just assuming it was a ball. But again, you look at where it was in the box and man, it was close. So I think that's what happened there. I think it was an unfortunate situation where it was a pitch that if the Padres could do it all over again, they certainly challenge. I think Michael King or Rodolfo Duran, when they went and saw where that pitch was, probably looked at it and said, yikes, said, oops, that could have really helped. There's not much that anybody else can do. I mean, Craig Stammen can't go challenge it. So it was unfortunate today because it could have made a big difference had the Padres challenged it. Now, also, let's be very, very clear. We do not know for sure. And I know it looked pretty good on TV. I know it looked pretty good in the boxes you can see online. I get that. We don't know for sure that it would have been called a strike and overturned. But you know what? I think the point is, and I think this was the frustrating part of it, even had it not got overturned, well, that's a spot. You use it because if you don't use it, and then you're automatically walking in a run. And it felt like that was a monumental moment in this game. So it was unfortunate. I don't know that it speaks to a larger Padres challenge issue, but it was unfortunate the way they, the fact that they did not challenge it because, again, I think there were some aspects of the pitch and the frame and King missing his spot that led into that. But unfortunately, it did look like they would have had a pretty good shot to overturn it had they challenged, and unfortunately, they didn't. All right, let's step aside. When we come back, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll wrap things up, get you ready for the series opener tomorrow in Chicago. Final score today, Dodgers 4 and the Padres 2. We wrap things up on our postgame after this. Back here at Petco Park, final score today, Dodgers 4 and the Padres 2 as the Padres drop the rubber game of this three-game series. Sam Levitt back with you inside the Western Metal Building as we wrap up this series and this homestand. It is a Military Sunday, and as always, Military Sunday is brought to you by our San Diego County Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, tell you what's been going on around the majors on this Sunday.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Taking a look at the Major League scoreboard, we have one game going on right now. Sunday Night Baseball, Yankees and the Red Sox at Fenway. They are scoreless in the fourth inning there. Everything else has gone final. The Pirates beat the Reds 9-4 in Pittsburgh earlier today. Ryan O'Hearn hit 2 home runs in that game for the Buccos. The Nationals beat the Orioles 6-4. In Baltimore, Luis Garcia Jr. hit 2 home runs in that one for Washington. Baltimore's Pete Alonso hit his 19th home run of the season for the O's. The Rangers and the Blue Jays going at it in Toronto. Texas's Jock Peterson got the Rangers off to a fast start.
And here's the first pitch, and Peterson rocks one high into the air, deep right. Lucas is back to the wall. He turns to look. It's out of here. Right up up over the Canada Dry sign. Jock Peterson has been a tall drink of water, soda, you name it. He homers his 13th home run of the year, and on the game's very first pitch, he gives Texas a 1-0 lead.
Jock Peterson, his 13th home run of the season. Matt Hicks on the call, Rangers radio. The Rangers go on to win it 3-2 in Toronto. Rangers sweeping a 4-game series from the Blue Jays. The Rays beat the Diamondbacks 5-1 in Tampa Bay. Junior Caminero hit his 22nd home run of the season, also his 4th game in a row with a home run for Tampa Bay. Astros beat the Tigers in 10, 7-5 in Detroit. The Cubs beat the Brewers 4-3 in 10 innings in Milwaukee. The Twins beat the Rockies 3-2 in Minnesota. Cody Clemens hit his 13th home run of the year in that game. The Guardians and the Mariners today in Cleveland. It was a 4-4 game in the 8th inning. Rhys Hoskins dug in for the Guards.
A swing and a drive, deep left, down the line, fair ball into the corner. That'll score Quan. DeLauder around third, heading home. The throw to the plate. He slides and crashes in. Safe at the plate. Ball jarred loose from Mitch Garver. Half slide, half crash, and DeLauder risking the broken rib and everything. And a 2-run double for Rhys Hoskins. Cleveland with a 6-4 lead. How about that?
The great Tom Hamilton, Guardians radio. The Guardians go on to win it by a final score of 6-4 against the Mariners today. Royals beat the White Sox 5-4 in Chicago. Cardinals beat the Marlins 2-1 in St. Louis. Brian Torres hit a 2-run home run in the second in that one. Cardinals made it stand up. The Angels beat the A's 4-1 in Anaheim. Giants beat the Braves 3-2 in San Francisco. And finally, the Phillies and the Mets in New York. Phillies were trailing 4-3. In the 7th inning, there was a runner on base for the powerful Kyle Schwarber.
The pitch, swung on. Hit high in the air, right center field, pretty deep. Ewing back, track, wall, gone, number 30. Kyle Schwarber puts the Phillies on top with a 2-run turnaround homer here in the top of the 7th. It is 5-4 Phillies.
Scott Fransky on the call there. Kyle Schwarber, his 30th home run of the season, as heard on Phillies radio, WIP in Philadelphia. 5-4. Phillies go on to win it behind that Schwarber home run. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday. Final score here in San Diego today, Dodgers 4 and the Padres 2. Let's hear today's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
Here's the 2-1. Bat swings, lines it into left center field. Ohtani will score. Pages is right behind him as Merrill sends the throw into second base. A 2-run single for Mookie Betts. The Dodger lead is now 4-1.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was our play of the game. Mookie Betts, the 2-run single in the 5th inning. Hey, ended up being the 2 runs that decided this game as the Padres fall by a final score of 4-2. Trust me, it gives me no great pleasure for that to be our play of the game, but that's the way it went here today as the Padres dropped 2 out of 3 to the LA Dodgers. They finished this homestand 4-2 against the Braves and the Dodgers. Taking a look ahead to tomorrow, Padres embarking on a 7-game road trip. They are en route to Chicago right now, going to Wrigley Field for 3 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. First pitch tomorrow at 5:05 p.m. at Wrigley Field. Our pregame coverage will begin at 4:05 here on the West Coast. Left-hander Shota Imanaga on the mound for the Cubs. On the mound for the Padres tomorrow, well, it is Griffin Canning's turn in the rotation. The Padres have not yet announced their starting pitcher. Could be an opener for Griffin Canning, certainly. So stay tuned to social media in the early part of tomorrow. I'm sure we will get more information on who will be starting tomorrow's game for the Padres. But again, right now, TBA for the Padres and Shota Imanaga, the southpaw, on the mound for the Cubbies. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the free Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well. A look at the final totals in this one for the Dodgers. 4 runs, 5 hits, no errors. They left on 7. For the Padres, 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors. They left on 8. Winning pitcher today, Emmett Sheehan, who improves to 4-5. Losing pitcher, Michael King, who drops to 5-7. And the save goes to Edgardo Enriquez for the Dodgers. He picks up his first save of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 53 minutes. And the crowd here at Petco Park on this Sunday, the Padres selling out each and every one of the 6 games on this homestand. It was the 35th sellout of the season. 41,189 in the building on a gorgeous Sunday here in downtown San Diego. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 5:05 p.m. Our pregame coverage begins at 4:05. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Kyle Ovenshire, I'm Sam Levitt, saying so long from Petco Park. Again, the final score today, the Los Angeles Dodgers 4 and the San Diego Padres 2. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great rest of your Sunday.